live in their house, and I got to test that twice, and I can tell you, these two pastors truly were what they preached. And that's what I've tried to live out, that same example of living what I preach, of being carried by the grace of God. The other part of that story was I was good at flunking. I wasn't good at excelling in academics. And as I was living with this pastor, Larry, he had asked me if I was going to go into the ministry. No. My goal is to be a strong Christian, to be that man of God who fights for God, but's not a pastor, doesn't need the title, doesn't need that title to live the life that God called me to live, unashamedly. And that was my goal. And funny, God's sitting back going, boy, doesn't he know. Well, I worked at a grocery store, and it became, I told God, I said, no, I want to be a carpenter. That was my first, mistake, to be like Jesus. Well, okay, I want to be a carpenter. Let's see, where am I headed here, Imagine where God's taking my story, He said, you're going to be like me? Okay, I'll let you be like me. And so he said, okay, I'll let you. I went to carpentry school while I was in high school, and as I was starting to go there, God was calling me saying, I'm not calling you to this. And I fought with that idea. No, God, I'm not the right person. No. And a person, someone at school, another student said, aren't you going to be a pastor? No, I'm not going to be a pastor. I'm just a Christian. And then a teacher, hey, Jeremiah, have you thought about going into the ministry? Other pastors in town, hey, Jeremiah. And I'm like, why do people keep saying my name? But they keep saying, Jeremiah means anointed one. I've learned this, and little did I know at the time that God had anointed me for a purpose and for a reason, and to share His grace. And so, have you ever been in one of those things? Every scripture you open, I did my devotions very methodically. I went, okay, God, what do you want to teach me? And amazingly, God works through our ignorance at times. Usually He had something that I needed to hear, and it was amazing. And a lot of times I would open the scripture and God would give me a word. And during this time, God would give me words, and it would lead to being shepherd, to being a preacher. 1 Timothy, he'd lead about, there's not enough shepherds. And God was using every asset He could to say, you stubborn-headed goat, come on, if you're a Christian, you understand it takes a lot of no's for us to finally get to that yes point. When God says, hey, can you, no, somebody else. And then finally we realize, well, okay, if it's the last option you have, God, I guess I will. A lot of times that's how we are with God. God